Well, Casa Grande Fire says it began on the west side of the building near where they keep the music amplification and electronics. It then spread over into the pews. Just how bad this fire was is still under investigation right now. No one's allowed inside until it's cleared by a structural engineer.
I just had to come see. I was like, it just breaks my heart.
Broken hearts over a building that was the heartbeat of Casa Grande.
Well, it's the backbone of the community.
The historical St. Anthony of Padua Church covered in soot and ash. The stained glass on the top floor shattered. The dark rain clouds overhead almost symbolic as parishioners stood in silence, processing the damage to a building where Catholics have worshipped since 1960.
We've got kids that were baptized here that their kids have gone here.
Yeah, we had a lot of good memories in there. A lot of friends got married and buried in there.
You don't go anywhere here that somebody can't tell you somebody that they've been to a couple weddings here, they've been to a couple funerals here, they've been to baptisms, all kinds of stuff here.
Casa Grande Fire Chief Dave Keene says the fire started shortly after midnight.
There's very significant damage.
The cost of that damage and its designation as a place of worship is why Chief Keene says police detectives and ATF investigators are assisting in the investigation.
We were so sad when I saw the church and the smoke and the heat. You know, you could feel the heat also.
Father Ariel Luston says he's thankful no one is injured. He also believes the unknown 911 caller was an act of divine intervention.
I didn't know who that person is, but I really thank that person. Maybe that was an angel set by God to us. She or he was in the right place at the right time.
And is holding on to faith as they rebuild.
Faith is bigger than any calamity. Our faith is bigger than any fire.
In the meantime, Mass is going to be held across the street at the community center. St. Anthony's also has a school, but it's several blocks away and was not impacted by this fire. Father Ariel says he is very touched by the outpour of support from this community. Reporting here in Casa Grande, Lauren Clark, Fox 10 News.
It's been a busy weather day out there across Arizona. Rain, dust, even snow making its way through the state. So this was the view from Skyfox flying over Phoenix around noon today. You can see definitely dusty out there, rain clouds. It was certainly hazy, but it felt great. That's for sure. Here's a time lapse of Snow Bowl, where right around noon, the snow was really coming down pretty hard. It already looks like winter out there. And around the same time, some light snow was coming down in Flagstaff. Beautiful sight out there. You can see the American flag whipping in the wind. That's for sure. It was windy, and the area got a mix of rain and hail. Corey's in now with an update on the forecast for us. Corey.
Tina, our reward has finally come. I knew those prayers and the crossed fingers that you've been doing would bear some fruit. I know we've all been. Anyway, it's really lovely out there across much of the state. No matter where you are, you're getting some kind of weather. And in the top left corner there, you see Sedona. The clouds have now returned to Sedona. They were, you folks were seeing blue skies not long ago. Just below that, there's that Flagstaff view with the clouds hanging over Humphreys Peak. Upper right, that's downtown here in Phoenix. And lower right, that would be Tempe Town Lake, where the wind is really chopping up the surface there. So that's kind of one of the big stories here across the valley, the very windy conditions. The temperatures are great. Everybody now at around 70, some dipping into the upper 60s, but it's really been a lovely afternoon all the way across the valley. But the big story is the wind, and there is plenty of it out there. In fact, winds have been gusting anywhere from 30 to 35 miles an hour. So I have a feeling that we're certainly going to be in for a pretty breezy evening. Things will start to die down tomorrow, but the big news tonight will be the temperature. It's been since April 16th since we've dropped below 60 degrees. Well, we're going to do it tonight, and I'll have a look at the whole weekend and what we can expect as we push into next week, too, in a few minutes, Tina.
Wow, get the jackets. I love it. Corey, thank you. Governor Katie Hobbs announcing an audit into Arizona's motor vehicle division that will begin immediately, she says. This follows the voter registration error where more than 200,000 Arizona voters were eligible to vote without proving their citizenship. So the error is tied to a law passed in 2004 requiring Arizona voters to prove citizenship in order to vote in state and local races. The system error assumed that Arizonans who got a driver's license before 2004 were eligible to vote. vote. The bipartisan independent audit will now examine the process that led to the error, and the findings are due by January 31st. Happening right now, former President Barack Obama is in Tucson, rallying in support of Vice President Kamala Harris. Obama's visit comes a little more than a week after Harris spoke here in Phoenix and after former President Trump's visit to Prescott Valley last weekend. Obama urged voters to get their ballot in early, with early voting already underway here in Arizona. So take a listen to what he had to say about former President Trump.
He wants the middle class to pay the price for another huge tax cut that would mostly help him and his country club buddies. He doesn't care if he costs more women their reproductive freedoms because it won't make a difference in his life. Do not boo. Vote. They can't hear you when you boo, but when you vote, everybody can hear you.
President Biden and former President Clinton will also be in Arizona next week, but details about their visits have not yet been announced. GOP vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance making another trip to Arizona. He is set to speak at Tier Tactical in Peoria next Tuesday, October 22nd. That's at 1 p.m. Doors open 11 a.m. And then he'll travel to Tucson for a rally at the Pinal County Fairgrounds. Vance was just in the valley last week for a CPAC town hall.